Who is Alec Baldwin?
A lot of people don't know the Baldwin brothers, who all went into acting, interestingly enough, also have 2 sisters.
He grew up with 5 siblings and his parents, 8 people in a 2-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom.
His father was a high school teacher and a football coach.
His mom was a stay-at-home mother. There was so much financial stress in their household.
So it's not as though he came from immense wealth, but sort of getting by the skin of your teeth.
Alec describes his mother as being a very strong woman with big hands, and when she would strike you, her backhand was like Navratilova.
In his autobiography, Baldwin also described a darker side to his father.
Alec Baldwin says that his father could not control him with money, but what he could control him with was the fear program. He gives us this example. He was on the football team in 9th grade. When 10th grade came around, he no longer wanted to be on the football team, and he told his dad. His dad didn't speak to him for a month and threatened to send him to military school. So in his sophomore year, Alec Baldwin went back to the football team. He says that fear was like a leash that went with him wherever he went, and he was so afraid of disappointing his dad. He wanted to get out of the house. He wanted a taste of achievement. He wanted to leave that life behind.
As his career was starting to gain momentum, his personal life took a devastating blow when his father died in 1983 at the age of 55. Baldwin was just 25.
Alec Baldwin's relationship with his father evolved after he left home. His dad became his mentor. His dad became his ally. His dad became his #1 advocate. His dad was his person.
His brothers have said that he seemed to be a different person in a way after that particular tragedy. A young man in his 20s, trying to be successful, and then his guiding light passes away. So it's not surprising that that would have an impact on his life.
And he said that he unconsciously looked everywhere for someone to fill his father's shoes and to fill that role of a trusted ally. And sadly, no one could fill that position.
Despite his personal struggles, Baldwin's career was about to take a giant leap. Just 1 year after his father's death.
He was willful, he was determined, he was unrelenting. He was never going to go back to the way that he used to live.
In 1990, he got the break that many actors dream of, the starring role in a blockbuster, The Hunt for Red October.
Huge hit, critically acclaimed. He shares the screen with Sean Connery, who's a major movie star. It's his kind of coming out moment as a lead actor, as a superstar.
Ramius might be trying to defect.
You're just an analyst. What can you possibly know what goes on in his mind?
I'll give you 3 days to prove your theory correct.
He earned the role, and he excelled in the role of Jack Ryan.
He kind of had shown his ability to kind of conquer a movie. It made sense that he was ready for the big leagues. He was kind of called up, as it were. And then it didn't happen, at least not for him.
Alec Baldwin was set up for a role of a lifetime, but unfortunately, he screwed that up.
Baldwin says the studio was already set on having Harrison Ford star in the Hunt for Red October sequel because of basically business reasons. Ford is a bigger celebrity at the time. The studio, David Kirkpatrick, Paramount executive, disagrees. He says that Alec Baldwin basically made it impossible, that they had a breakdown of trust in their relationship, and that basically it made it an untenable partnership for the future.
He blames the Paramount executives. He says that the Paramount executives gave him a contract with an open-ended clause as far as the date of the sequel of this movie. And Alec didn't want to sign that clause because he wanted to do A Streetcar Named Desire. So the Paramount executives didn't wait for him, and they went and they got Harrison Ford, who was more than ready, willing, and able to take the role.
He starred with Kim Basinger in The Marrying Man, and the film was a flop. It wasn't critically hailed, it wasn't successful in any way, but he did meet his future bride.
And the two of them are just absolutely trashed in the press. There seem to be leaks coming from the production, from the studio, that they're very difficult to work with.
There is a saying that we attract who we are, not what we want. Alec Baldwin was attracted to someone who had a similarity of form to his own personality. So he wasn't gonna go date a wallflower. He dated someone who had the same explosive tendencies as he did.
The studio is saying, like, look, these are serious problems. This pair is very difficult to work with. Baldwin completely proves their point and makes those leaks much more credible by coming out after the film bombs and trashing everyone from Jeffrey Katzenberg to Neil Simon to Disney itself, which gives gives a ton of credence to the rumors that he was hard to work with.
Over the years, we've learned that he can be very combustible off screen. He can have a quick temper. We've seen that again and again.
Alec Baldwin's career is really defined by patterns, and one of those patterns is his battles with paparazzi and with press. And we see this as early as 1995, again, just 5 years into his entrance onto the public scene as a blockbuster star in 1990's Hunt for Red October, and just about 15 years into his career period, Alec Baldwin is arrested for assaulting a photographer who is trying to get pictures of his homecoming with Kim Basinger and their newborn daughter, Ireland.
He has reckless disregard for other people. Should a photographer have been punched because he was trying to take a photo of his child? Absolutely not.
Those character issues once again surfaced in 2002 as he and Basinger were locked in a very messy and public divorce.
You know, this wasn't the age of social media, thank goodness for the both of them. I think it would have been much worse, but this was a relationship and a marriage and a breakup in the public eye. It was not amicable. They were fighting over their daughter, who gets to see her more or less.
I think Alec Baldwin did the right thing for trying to get custody of his child. Many men just walk away. I don't know if Alec Baldwin fought so hard to get Joy in custody because he loved her that much and he wanted to spend quality time with her and he wanted to create a nurturing bond with her, or because he simply didn't want Kim Basinger to win.
Alec Baldwin was riding high on 30 Rock. He was a star. He'd eventually win 2 Emmys for that role. And then the audio message leaked.
Hey, I want to tell you something, okay? And I want to leave a message for you right now, because again, it's 10:30 here in New York on a Wednesday. And once again, I made an of myself trying to get to a phone to call you at a specific time. When the time comes for me to make the phone call, I stop whatever I'm doing and I go and I make that phone call at 11 o'clock in the morning in New York, and if you don't pick up the phone at 10 o'clock at night, and you don't even have that phone turned on, I want you to know something, okay? I'm tired of playing this game with you. I'm leaving this message with you to tell you, you have insulted me for the last time. You have insulted me. You don't have the brains or the decency as a human being. I don't give a that you're 12 years old or 11 years old, or that you're a child, or that your mother is a thoughtless pain in the who doesn't care about what you do as far as I'm concerned. You have humiliated me for the last time with this phone. And when I come out there next week, I'm going to fly out there for the day just to straighten you out on this issue. I'm going to let you know just how disappointed in you I am and how angry I am with you that you've done this to me again. You've made me feel like and you've made me feel like a fool over and over and over again. And this you pull on me with this phone situation that you would never dream of doing to your mother, and you do it to me constantly and over again. I am going to get on a plane, and I'm going to come out there for the day, and I'm going to straighten your out when I see you. Do you understand me? I'm going to really make sure you get it. Then I'm going to get on a plane, I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to come home. So you better be ready Friday, the 20th, to meet with me. So I'm going to let you know just how I feel about what a rude little pig you really are. You are a rude, thoughtless little pig, okay?
Alec Baldwin's voicemail to his daughter was absolutely disgusting and unacceptable. He actually opens the voicemail by telling his daughter that she doesn't have the brains or decency as a human being. He has zero emotional self-regulation and zero emotional self-control and zero capacity to care for the thoughts and feelings of other people.
Despite the ugliness of the call, Baldwin once again avoided any serious consequences. Baldwin's career flourished during 30 Rock. He won 2 Emmys for a lead actor in a comedy, was nominated for 7 more Emmys, hosted the Oscars in 2010, and continued to work in films. But true to form, Baldwin also continued to find himself in trouble.
He gets kicked off of an American Airlines flight in 2011 for refusing to turn off his cell phone.
The flight attendants say, "Mr. Baldwin, can you please shut off your phone? It's time for us to get in the air." And he said no. And there were words exchanged. The people who were on the plane said that Alec Baldwin behaved badly, said terrible things. It doesn't seem out of the realm to see him doing just that.
Here he is sitting arrogantly in first class. The least he could do is actually follow instruction like everybody else on the plane. But no, Alec Baldwin wants to do what he wants to do.
This was a short-lived show because he was once again involved in a controversy, but this time there were consequences.
He has another altercation with someone from the media.
Anything to say about the photographer yesterday?
He is caught uttering a homophobic slur, and the show is canceled. It's a good example of a case where the public outburst gave the network an excuse to pull the plug on something that was doing very poorly.
Some say maybe this was Alec Baldwin's opportunity to have a wake-up call. But Alec Baldwin is not about to have a wake-up call. He's not going to change.
Trouble and Alec Baldwin are never too far apart. In 2014, he is bicycling the wrong way down Fifth Avenue in New York City, and cops pull him aside and say, "Hey, you're going the wrong way."
And that snowballs into this F-bomb filled rant at female police officers.
Alec, what happened?
By this ultra-powerful rich celebrity who is biking the wrong way down a street. He blows this up into something that he needs to shout and scream on the street at police officers.
And then he blames them again, that they are trying to get resources for New York City. We're not that poor. Alec Baldwin is simply the blame king. Even in his autobiography called A Promise to Ourselves, the autobiography would be better titled A Promise to Blame. You can literally turn to any page and he's blaming someone.
Around 2018, he got into a parking fight with a fellow New Yorker. Now, if you live in New York, if you've been to New York, you know that parking is a premium.
Alec, anything you can say to us what happened? Can you tell us what happened?
He's hitting somebody over a parking spot. And if we're wondering why, with controversy after controversy, he weathers the storm, it's because he's become a caricature of a celebrity who sees themselves as being above the law and who feels entitled to these public outbursts.
Baldwin's latest controversy has nothing to do with the public outburst and could ultimately prove he is not above the law.
Absolute tragedy on a film set in New Mexico. Hollywood actor Alec Baldwin fired a prop gun on the set of his film, Rust, killing the film's cinematographer and also injuring the director on site. Authorities say that the case is currently under investigation, but no charges were immediately filed.
A tragic accident did happen on the set of Rust.
They were doing a rehearsal. Alec Baldwin was handed a prop gun. He was told it was cold, meaning there wasn't live ammunition in it. He pointed the gun.
The cameras were rolling at the time that this happened. The footage is disturbing.
In an attempt to get ahead of the news and get his side of the story out, Baldwin sat down for an interview. It did not come off well.
Alec Baldwin had an interview with George Stephanopoulos shortly after this tragedy. I understand that an actor wants to keep on acting. He wants to save his career. He also wants to protect himself from liability. I felt uncomfortable watching it. It felt more like a publicity maneuver.
The Stephanopoulos interview really boiled my blood. Alec Baldwin's lack of self-awareness, total self-importance, absolute self-centeredness was staggering. Alec Baldwin is expressing so much emotion. He is literally bawling, talking about his dreams. He has the unmitigated audacity to talk about his dreams. What about Helena's dreams? Helena's husband, Matt, had dreams too. What about his dreams? Helena's son, 9-year-old Andros, he has dreams too. What about his dreams?
New video tonight shows Baldwin talking with the Santa Fe Sheriff's Department after cinematographer Helena Hutchins was killed during an accident on the set of Rust in October.
I saw the video in the police station. I felt that Alec Baldwin was trying to be matter of fact. throughout the whole interview with the police, except at the end when they informed him that Helene had actually passed. And at that point, he jumped out of his chair, and it seemed like he couldn't wrap his mind around it. And he just couldn't process what had happened.
The investigation into the Rush shooting is ongoing. No criminal charges have been filed against Alec Baldwin or anyone else involved so far. True to form, though, Baldwin's career has not been affected. In May, he announced he had started a new production company and will be starring in his first film. His personal life also continues to thrive. He and Hilaria are expecting their 7th child in the fall. It seems for better or for worse, we will be hearing from Alec Baldwin for many years to come.